everybody. Welcome to the daily Rebel live stream. It's something we do every single day during the pandemic here. If the pandemic is still on, I kind of think it's over. But during the pandemic, everybody in the mainstream media started cutting back on their weekly coverage, and we didn't. We ramped it up. We went from one live stream a week to one every single day. And today is a very special one because last week you met one of my other Rebel colleagues, Mocha. Today you're meeting somebody else who works behind the scenes. His name is Yankee, and Yankee does social media for us here at Rebel News, but he's also something else. He's a super duper gun enthusiast. And so that's something that Yankee and I have in common. I think we have very different backgrounds, as you'll find out today. But Yankee, thanks for joining me. This is not your first time in front of the camera, but I think it's kind of the first big chance people are going to really get to know you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, it's not my first time, but I definitely am a bit camera shy. I like being behind the camera, behind the scenes, but somehow someone convinced me in the office, since I'm here for the week, to get on camera. So I don't know, I am on camera, and it's great being here. And yeah, so I live in Montreal, but I'm here for the week at the Rebel office, and I just got convinced to do this show. And yes, I am a gun enthusiast. I'm wearing my firearm rights or human rights shirt and my Canadian Gun Vault cap. Canadian Gun Vault is a great organization, and the CCFR is also a great organization, where I got this shirt from. Speaking about that, I believe they're having, when is it, on September 2nd? I believe they're having a big rally in Ottawa, which I hope I'll be there.
It's September 12th.
12th, okay, September 12th.
Saturday, September 12th, 2020, 1 p.m., they're marching to Parliament Hill. It's for the Integrity March. They're demanding integrity from legislators. Good luck with that, because I don't think the Liberals have all that much integrity. But they're doing their best to raise awareness on Justin Trudeau's unconstitutional gun grab of 1,500 popular models of Canadian firearms and shotguns. And the CCFR is really doing some great work. They've also got a legal challenge against the government, one of 5 now. But before we go on, we got to tell people what we're doing here. Friends at home, as you know, the daily live stream is your opportunity to support the work that we do here at Rebel News completely willingly, unlike what the CBC does to you, extracting $1.5 billion from the pockets of Canadians every single year. You can do something called a super chat here. Now, I see a lot of you are engaged in the live chat, which is fun. I always go back and read it afterwards. But you can do something called a super chat. That's your opportunity to support the work that we do. You can give a donation along with a comment, and it'll highlight your comment and append it, and I'll see it out of the corner of my eye. And if I don't, then Justin, our long-suffering, hardworking producer, will send it to me in a message, and I will read it on air. And I think this is a great opportunity for you to get to know Yankee better. If you got questions for this Jewish Montreal gun enthusiast, which seems strange on paper but makes perfect sense to me, and how he came into his enthusiasm for gun rights, stick it in a super chat and we can ask Yankee some questions and get to know him a little better. But mostly everything we're talking about today is guns, because I like guns and Yankee likes guns, and we're sort of, outside of Kian, probably the big gun enthusiasts at the company. And we already have some super chats, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I do like guns, and we do have a list of videos, I believe, and super chats as well. Okay, yeah, I'm not reading the super chats.
No, I'm going to read them. Yankee can't see them. Yankee, just pretend it's our morning conference call and just talk. Just take over the whole thing. Let's read these super chats. Gabriel Mainville, who donates kind of frequently to us here at Rebel News in the super chat, says, Yankee, I once saw you inside the 6767 Côte de Neige. I think I'm saying that right, but I'm Albertan, so I don't speak French. Do you think you'll run as a Quebec Conservative Party, I guess, member if there will be another election?
I ran in 2018 provincially. I'm not sure where that building is. I know the street, it's not far from my house, but I ran in the past. It's not something I would say I won't never do again. It's just, I said I'll never run, and I did run. So I might run again, might not, but it's not on my to-do list. It's not on my bucket list. But if need be, I'll run. But I'll rather support someone else in their running.
Yeah, sometimes you can be more effective from the outside of the political machinery. David Anderson gives us $2, says, great shirt, Yankee. I have one just like it. To my great shame, I don't own that shirt. I should get one, Yankee. We'll have to compare when you're wearing it and when I'm wearing it. Like David Menzies and Ezra Levant, when they show up to the morning Skype call and they're both wearing the same comic book shirt.
They do that on occasion. It does happen. Yeah, I just got mine about a few weeks ago, actually. I decided to donate to the CCFR's legal challenge, and I also bought some merch. So that's one of the merch I got. And I like the shirt. I believe in the statement, so I wear it. I actually wear this in Montreal as well, not only on the show. I wear this. And this is actually my favorite hat. I wear this almost every day. So it's a Canadian gun vault cab, but over here, I'm trying to figure out the camera. It's on this side. I have a little pin that says, I love fossil fuels, and I wear that in Montreal as well. So, so far, I haven't really had any issues, but, I had one time, I'm a part-time photographer, that someone sent me an email saying that he does not want to do business with me since I wear this cap. So that's very tolerant people, but what should I do?
Julian Borges gives us $2, says the pandemic is a weapon against our liberties. Yeah, if they're not stripping away our liberties in direct relation to the pandemic, they're using the pandemic as sort of cover for the other liberty grabs that they want to do. Like in the middle of a pandemic, Justin Trudeau decides to ban and ultimately, I guess, confiscate, buy back, he says, 1,500 popular shotguns and rifles. And he did that at the height of the pandemic. That was the focus of the public safety ministry at the time. It's quite strange. Yankee, I want to ask you, because I don't know this about you. I mostly hear from you during our morning conference calls. We've only met in person once in Edmonton at the book signing, which was kind of fun, kind of frisky. What's it like? Okay, first of all, you're a Jewish kid from Montreal. How did you end up being so into guns? Because you're not from the country. Like you're from like
I'm
the
a city
city.
Boy. Yeah.
Yeah. How did this happen?
I don't know. My parents aren't pro-gun in any way. They are conservative. They vote conservative. They're right-wing people, but they're not gun enthusiasts. My mom wasn't very happy about the guns in the beginning. She changed her mind lately. But, my parents, I never grew up around guns. The first time I shot a gun was actually after I got my license. That was the first time I shot a gun. I got into guns. I always liked guns. I think it's a great sport. I don't actually hunt. I don't have a hunting license. I should get one soon and hunt sometime. But, going to the range, hanging out with friends at the range and shooting guns is, it's a lot of fun. It's a great sport. Speaking about the gun ban that he did in the middle of, the Trudeau did in the middle of a pandemic, I have actually 3 guns that are moved from restricted to prohibited, and we'll see what happens with that. But so potentially a lot of money out the window over there. So we'll fight it in all the legal ways we can. But yeah, I don't know. I always liked guns. I was messaging one of my friends, and I was like, "Oh, do you know any gun laws or rules in Canada?" And he was like, "Actually, next week we're doing the courses, the PAL." I did the PAL I did the RPAL first, and then I did the PAL, and then sent it into the RCMP. Took a few months and got it back. So I don't know exactly what made me like guns, but I do like it. I think it's a great sport, and I like going to the range and giving out some extra energy over there.
I want to ask you, I know like in Canada, it's not something that we're allowed to do, to use firearms for self-defense, but we have seen a rise of attacks on Jewish communities in the United States. And I wanted to ask you about firearms rights, training, advocacy in the Jewish community, because correct me if I'm wrong, but you're also American.
Yeah, I am a dual citizen. I lived in the States for a while. I don't own any guns in the States as of now, but that will change pretty soon, hopefully. I have a lot of family in places where these attacks in upstate New York have happened. I have friends that are big firearm advocates in upstate New York or even New York City. Actually, one of my friends is now, as we speak, he's training in Tennessee to enhance his training in security, and he's a big firearms advocate, Second Amendment advocate in upstate New York, and making sure that the communities are safe. I have multiple friends, even family in upstate, that have firearms for self-protection. I had a home invasion in the middle of the city, nice city, Montreal. I lived in my parents' house a couple of years ago, 2014, 2015. It was a cold winter night. It was in January. And someone just decided to bust in the basement door. And luckily, my sisters weren't in the house at the time. It was 11:30 p.m. And he just, I made some noise and he ran away. He was never caught. But, people should have the right of self-defense. It's not even about guns. It's about the right of self-defense. You can't carry this pen in Canada for self-defense. And that's an issue. People should have an inherent right of defending themselves. And we don't have that in Canada. So I think that is a big issue. It's not even about guns. It's about having pepper spray, having a knife on you, or anything to defend yourself if something should happen to you.
Yeah, and it's strange because you will often see people who claim to be feminists or women's rights advocates who are actively lobbying against firearms, against these measures for self-defense, when it seems like some of these things are tools that act as the great equalizer for somebody like my size versus somebody like your size.
No, I definitely agree. And as I said, it's not even about guns. It's about your right to defend yourself by any means necessary. In Canada, it's like, I believe there was a person that he got attacked in his own bedroom by some guy that he had a fight with or something, and he stabbed the guy, and the judge said that it was not reasonable force, and the guy died, obviously, and he went to prison, I believe, for 3 years for stabbing someone to death in his own bed because he stabbed him a few too many times. And it's like, you're in my house, in my bed, trying to kill me. Don't come in my bedroom.
You're not in my bedroom to sing me a lullaby. You're not there for benevolent reasons. You're there to do me harm. And I shouldn't be made to trust that the home invaders are just there to steal my TV. I should be allowed to assume the worst of them. We should get to a couple more super chats, and then we'll get to Andrew's gun grab streeters. So our colleague Andrew went to Toronto to ask them about the gun grab, and it was very illuminating for me as an Albertan, where guns really are a way of life out here. It's not unusual for women and men and kids to hunt, to target shoot, to just have guns. It's just a way of life out here, and it's funny to see how that quickly changes once you get to the center of the universe. But let's get to a couple more super chats, and then we'll move into that. And again, friends, if you have any questions for Yankee about what it's like to be kind of a new guy at Rebel News, what it's like being a Montreal person who likes guns, which I can't imagine is easy, set them in the super chats. This is the full gun show with me and Yankee. So we've got Kane Enmark gives us $5. He says, I'm still mad that white leftist man telling Drea what race she is or is not in her video. Drea is very clearly a minority. Like, I don't think that's shocking to anybody. But even if she weren't, I'm pretty sure these people tell me that you can self-identify as whatever the heck you feel like, and that women shouldn't have to listen to men defining who they are. That's the leftist mantra, and yet that one guy in Drea's video kept saying that what she was or wasn't. Very strange.
Yeah, it was strange. I actually watched the video and I was like, what is going on here? It's like, you can't be Indigenous. And it's like,
yeah,
like, who tells you what I could be or can be?
Yeah. Well, it reminded me of Joe Biden saying, like, you ain't black. And that it seems crazy when Joe Biden says it out loud, but that is actually how the left thinks. It's a very mainstream idea for them. Vito Anthony D gives us $5. Is Ford a liberal or a conservative? Because I can't really tell. Sex Ed Flip was a flop, in my opinion. Then he lied, and then Farad Karahelios and Granick Allen to the crocodiles. What do you think, Yankee?
I'll say this. In 2018, I came for 8 days to campaign for Doug Ford. I live in Montreal. I was like, this is a tight race. I like Doug Ford. I spent 8 days volunteering my own money. Nobody paid me for it. And I was on 3 different, I didn't campaign for Ford, but 3 PC candidates. All of them won. One is Education Minister Stephen Lecce, Guy Lamarto, and Robin Martin. I believe she's the MPP of this locally here. But so I door knocked, and all of them won. But I'll say this: I'm disappointed. Pushing through all these laws and just let people live. Stop. So I'm not impressed by Doug Ford these days. I'll say that. I think he could do better and should do better.
He should be very concerned that his base is out there protesting him every weekend at Queen's Park. The Yahoo Nation is his base. He's completely abandoned them. And there are people who aren't protesting, but they'll probably just stay home next time when Doug Ford needs their vote.
I do this now. I haven't been involved politically since beginning of 2019 with any campaigns really. But I wouldn't come out to campaign for Doug Ford again. It's just, if I lived in Ontario, I might have voted for him, but going out and asking people to vote for him after, maybe he'll change. I don't know. Maybe he'll be good old Doug again. But I don't know. Right now, I'm not impressed. And yeah, he did kick out Belinda. I know Jim. I like Jim. I don't know Belinda well, but it's shocking that he did that.
Yeah, I think Doug Ford's got to fire every single person in his office and just do a big master reset on his premiership. We've still got more super chats because everybody's very generous. Basil the Pump and Seagull gives us $2, says the CCFR is our only hope. I'd join them ASAP. They're doing great work. and they have some really great, reasonable people who are out there fighting for gun rights every single day. Tracy Wilson is fantastic.
I like
it's nice to see. And, I'm not really one to play like the politics of demographics, but when she's up against people who are saying we need to ban guns to protect women, and she's like, I'm the gun lobby in this country, sorry, you don't get to speak for me, I think that's a very powerful thing to do.
I agree. I know Tracy from meeting her a couple of times, speaking to her about guns and stuff. I like her. Rod as well, that's on the CCFR. They really are doing a good job. I hope they win the lawsuit against the Trudeau government. One, it's personal. I have a lot of money over there, but also it's about our freedoms. It's about, you can't have a government just deciding to confiscate property because they don't like it, because, there was a mass killing in Nova Scotia. I understand that. It's very sad. Half of the people died of guns, the other half from other means, and the guns were all illegal. So it's like, you could ban every single gun, that would have still happened.
Yeah.
Maybe fight some, there are probably ways to fight such things not to happen, but banning legal firearms will not make that not happen. It's the unfortunate truth.
Are you telling me that gangbangers are not going to register their handguns? They're not going to sit in that boring RPEL class like I had to? Yankee, come on.
No, I don't think they will. It's boring. It's a 10, 12-hour class. I did it now almost 5 years ago or 5 years ago. I actually just got my renewal this month or late last month. It took me 8 months to get my license renewed. I applied in December, and I just...
Go ahead.
I just received it. It's ridiculous amount of paperwork to go to the range, to come from the range. And in Quebec, we have Bill 9, which is just another hassle on you, which I don't know how legal even that law is, but it's Quebec. So it's just paperwork upon paperwork. If you have restricted firearms, it's like if you forget this paper or that paper, you technically be in a lot of trouble. You could have all your firearms confiscated because of a little piece of paper. It's not even about if you did something illegal or you brandished it, or it's just a paper.
Yeah, it's I don't think non-gun owners realize what you have to do to take your gun to the range, which if it's a restricted firearm, that's the only place that you can use it. You have to pick up the phone and ask permission from someone who you've never met, sitting in a cubicle somewhere in some far-flung place, and you have to ask them for permission to go directly to the range and go directly back, which is the only place that you're allowed to use it anyways. The law states that. So why do you have to call that guy for permission?
I believe that was removed, but Trudeau wants to bring that back.
Trudeau wants to. It's in C-71.
It's funny how Bill C-71 was never enacted, but Trudeau put another gun ban without even doing the first one. It was still never enacted. It's strange. He's just throwing laws to pander, and he never even enacts some of them, and it's just sitting somewhere in a pile. And he says he did something, and everyone vote for me, and I'll give you $2,000 a month and vote for me again.
It's these gun confiscations and gun bans are the equivalent of mask wearing. It's like the mask wearing is like public health masterpiece theater, and this is public safety masterpiece theater. One does not make you any healthier any more than banning my firearms or my daughter's 410. She's 14. It's not going to make anybody any safer in John Tory's Toronto with its gang problem. Let's keep going though, because we're never going to get through these super chats. Lesbian Towel gives us $5 Canadian. Why are white conservatives more mad about masks than they are about their statues being torn down and their ethnicity being under attack? I don't think it's about ethnicity, and I don't think that white conservatives.
No.
You're Jewish.
I'm Jewish. I'm not white.
I don't think that it's a binary. Like, I don't think that you can either be mad about statues and culture. I think it's about culture, the destruction of the culture, and masks. I don't think that you have to choose between one or the other. I think there are lots of people who care about both, and that don't happen to be white, like Drea. She's on the mask beat all the time. She cares deeply about Western civilization and preserving Western culture. So I don't think it has to do with white versus black. I know that a lot of people on the left, they do want to make it about white versus black and white America versus black America, but I really don't think it is. I think it is anarchists versus people who want to preserve something.
Yeah, I always tell people I'm proud of my background, proud of my religion, but it doesn't matter. I'm me, and I'm me who I am. It doesn't, if I'm white or black, it doesn't change who I am, or my religion doesn't change who I am. I'm me, and see me for myself. And I have certain beliefs that I believe in, and it's not because of my skin color or what I look like. It's about what's right and what's wrong. So we need to take race and religion out of the game and just focus on what's right and wrong.
I'm a cultural conservative. I think if you believe in freedom and leaving other people alone and not wasting my tax dollars on ridiculous things, you're good with me, and I should be good with you. That's my political outlook. Worship however you like. Worship whomever you like. It's none of my business until such time as it infringes on me. Live your life however you want, and do your best to leave everybody alone. And also wash your hands. That's also important.
Yeah, wash your hands.
Basil the pumpkin seagull gives us $10 and says, I identify as a buff, meaty seagull, only one of its kind. You know what? Again, as long as you're minding your own business and washing your hands or your big, beefy, meaty seagull wings, I don't care what you're doing. We've got more. Julian Borges gives us $5. The remarkably high gun crime in the United States is the biggest contention I believe most people have against gun ownership. What do you say about this? Yankee, you answer this.
Okay, so I'll say this. Where in Canada, we don't have the issues that the U.S. has, and I'll get to that in a second. But we're doing an American fix. We're solving an American problem in Canada, which that problem doesn't really exist in Canada. It's, we have had rise in gun crimes lately. Most of these guns are smuggled in from the States. I believe 80-odd% of guns used in crimes in Canada could be traced back to the States. So we're banning guns here. It's not gonna change anything. People are still gonna smuggle in. The U.S. does have some issues. I'm not sure how they would address it exactly, but I firmly believe in a good guy with a gun will always be, the bad guys will have it. The good guy with the gun will stop the bad guy with the gun. And of course we should fight people that shouldn't be having guns. They shouldn't have it, but coming after law-abiding citizens is not gonna. The gangsters in Chicago will not lose their guns because you banned guns somewhere else, or even downtown Toronto. It's just not going to change a thing. So if you want to fight crime, go fight gangs and fight gun crime. Coming after me or other law-abiding gun owners is not going to take guns off the streets. My guns have never committed crimes. My guns, they're locked up, and I use them in the range, and then I take them home and lock them back up. So, that's where they are always. So it's, banning my guns is not going to reduce downtown Toronto or downtown Montreal's crimes. It's just not going to do it. These people do not have legal guns.
Now, you said that we're trying to fix an American issue in Canada. Or something to that effect. But I think the issue is actually still the same. The issue is these liberal-run cities are the ones with all the gun violence, and the fix has to be, or the fix, for some reason, the Liberals seem to think have to do with me and you. It's John Tory has a gang problem. Justin Trudeau has an open borders problem. So we've got
Except
two
if
things.
It's law-abiding citizen trying to enter Canada.
Yeah. So we've got the two things, these two issues converging in our urban centers and primarily in Toronto. So you've got a porous border allowing guns to be trafficked across it. And then you've got a gang problem in Toronto. And I guess thirdly, you have a police force that, John Tory is deciding that he's going to reallocate, which is a new word for defunding, some police funding in the middle of a crime wave. So, again, it's Liberals don't want to look in the mirror, self-reflect, and say, okay, well, these Liberal policies are causing problems in our cities, our Liberal-run cities, like Chicago, like Toronto. Well, maybe we need to do something different. No, they say, okay, well, all you law-abiding people in Alberta, in Montreal, in your case, in the interior of British Columbia, you have to be responsible and you have to pay the price for what we've failed to do in our own cities. And I think that it happens on the north side of the border, on the south side of the border. It's a Liberal feature, not a bug.
Yeah, I agree. They're trying to find the easy way out. And, now let's defund the police. We're going to defund the police. Then you're going to have more gun crime and more crime. And then they'll be like, we need to ban more guns. That will solve the issue. They could take away all your freedoms and the crimes will still continue. The criminals will be criminals. You're just making law-abiding citizens into criminals for no reason. They're not harming anyone. No, I'm not saying that there aren't people that shouldn't have guns. There are some people definitely that should not have guns, and we should focus on that. Legal guns. Some people shouldn't have legal guns and shouldn't be able to get them. And we should focus on stuff like that and mental health and making sure that people don't, do stuff that they shouldn't. I have a daily background check on me for having a gun license. So does every law-abiding gun owner in this country. Do criminal gangsters have every day a background check on them? I don't know. I would say no. But, if I mess up tonight, get into a fight or something, the cops will know by tomorrow and I'll have my guns removed if I'm deemed violent. It's that easy. It's ridiculous that we're the target when we're the most watched and community of people in Canada. We're the most scrutinized. It's allowed to blame us for anything that happens in the world, or if there's a shooting, it's somehow my fault that some idiot did something.
I was just looking as you were speaking. The Heritage Foundation compiled, I think it was in 2018, they compiled an entire, it's sort of like a dossier on, they took crime studies from all over the place, including Pew Research, which is sort of left-leaning, but they're pretty good still on their empirical data. And they say that in the past few years, there have been minor increases in certain types of violent crimes, mainly in large metropolitan areas. However, this is nowhere near what they saw in the 1990s. The 2011 homicide rate in the United States is almost half the rate in 1991. The 2013 gun-related death rate was half the rate in 1993. And they don't see any correlation between increased gun legislation and the decline of violent crime. Like that one does not lead to the other. No, and they see that over and over again.
It doesn't. Fighting crime reduces crime. It's the only thing that reduces crime is fighting the gangsters. Now, it's hard to do. I wouldn't want to be the officer doing it, but don't blame me for it and don't take away my property because you have another issue. We're easy to blame, but it's not going to take the issue away. I also hate seeing people being shot. I also hate seeing in the news every second day there was a shooting here, a shooting there. It's sad. People are losing family members. But by taking away my property, the problem won't go away. It will just continue happening. So let's address the real issues and stop the crimes.
Yeah, that's reflected in the Heritage Foundation's data. They say more people are stabbed to death every year than are murdered with rifles, and a person is more likely to be bludgeoned to death with a blunt object or beaten to death with hands and feet than they are to be murdered with a rifle. And those are just the facts. So, I mean, you can ban guns, but it's not going to affect the murder rate. People are just going to find new and creative ways to kill you. Let's keep going on these super chats, though. Robert Stewart gives us $25 Canadian. I don't see a super chat. Very generous, Robert. Thank you. MEC gives us $2, says that he liked Doug Ford, but he's so disappointed. Now, I think we all feel that way. Julian Borges gives us $2. Yank. Thoughts on causes for anti-Jewish sentiment?
Again, I think for some reason Jews are an easy target. I don't know why exactly, but in history it's been proven. I don't like being playing victim, but it's just something that if someone, there are people that are having, I guess, hardships in life, and they decide to blame other people. One of the groups of people that they like to blame are Jews. Just 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, I got into a little thing with a construction worker. He didn't want to let me do my job, and he just started yelling at me, "You Jew, you Anglo," because it was in Quebec, and a lot of other things. So he just threw everything he could. So, I don't know exactly why it's happening, but I do know that as a Jew, I need to protect myself against it. It doesn't matter to me why they do it, although it does a bit because it helps in education. But as a person, I need to know that I'm safe. And in the States, my friends are taking measures with firearms and security and other ways to make sure they stay safe. In Canada, there's security, there's other things you could do, but you need to make sure you're safe. The reason behind why a gunman or someone is trying to hurt you, or it doesn't really matter at the time when it happens or when it's happening. It's more of, you need to stay safe type of thing for me.
Yeah, David and I had talked about this before, and I think some of the not specifically anti-Jewish sentiment, but the anti-Israel sentiment, I think stems from the general anti-American sentiment of the left in the United States. They see Israel as an extension of America, of American policy, of American exceptionalism, and they just hate that. They hate the idea that America is truly the best, freest place on the face of the earth, and by extension, they lump Israel into that too.
Yeah, as Iran says, America is the big devil and Israel is the small devil. Or
that's right.
Mixed up. But the point is, Israel is a great place. I've been there twice. I believe you've been there. Is it perfect? No country is perfect. But I think it's the most perfect from any country in the region, I'll say that. So does every country, does every person, does everything need to be improved? Yes, but it's a pretty good country, I'll say that.
Okay, let's maybe take a break from these super chats, as I'll just let them pile up, as I always tend to do. And maybe we can run Andrew's video of the gun grab streeters, because that I find extremely fascinating.
Let's do that.
Hey guys, this is Andrew Says, the most censored YouTuber in Canada. Here at Yonge and Dundas Square, we're asking people about the assault weapons ban, the assault rifle ban, the list of 1,500 prohibited firearms that Justin Trudeau just put into legislation. We're here to ask everybody, are you for it? Are you against it? Do they even know what an assault rifle is? I'll show you how it's done. Today we're asking people about the assault weapons ban that Justin Trudeau announced. Would you be for or against that? Don't know anything about it?
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
Wow. Well, I think it's a great idea.
For me, it's like it should be illegal to have arms because we don't need it.
Are you for or against that?
I'm more or less against that.
I mean, I think the crime rate has gone up in Toronto, so all the guns, they should keep away.
Whether you're for the ban or against it?
Against.
I'm for it.
Okay, can you explain why?
Yeah, because there's far too many people that are irrational and they shouldn't be carrying a gun, especially criminals.
So I'm all for stopping crime and gun crime especially, but I'm just not sure how an assault weapons ban does anything when there's not really a problem with that particular weapon.
I still think that all guns should be banned regardless whether they're rifles or anything else. I mean, the crime rate has gone up in Toronto and Canada as well, so I mean, I think they should ban.
Assault ban? I think that I'm for it.
You're for it?
Yeah.
And why is that?
Considering hearing that shooting from Nova Scotia, I think that was Nova Scotia.
Were those illegally obtained guns, though?
I'm not sure. I don't know the full story of it. I only heard the story.
I would be against the ban.
You're against a ban?
I'm
Okay,
against,
can you tell us why?
I think we should have a right to protect ourselves. I mean, as a female, I wouldn't mind to have a gun in my residence just in case, and if it's licensed, I would have to pass certain tests. Also, I'm a defense counsel, so I'm a lot more pro-civil liberties, I would say, so that's just my opinion.
Well, you don't think it'd be good to keep it out of people's hands?
No, because it's a black market. It's come from US. It doesn't matter. You ban it here. Is a lot of, 80% of the assault is come from black market from US border. So as long as US, as a constitution rights, they carry on the ban. That's the weapon. Canada cannot do anything.
Do you mind me asking where you're from?
I'm Persian from Iran.
Since the assault weapons have a lot of bullets that can actually harm more than one person, it should be banned.
With guns on the streets, it's terrible. People are just dying, If they can remove some of those guns, it would be good for us.
Yeah, no, I'm against it, brother.
Okay, tell me why.
Yeah, because people need to protect ourselves, right?
Do we have any sympathy for legal gun owners that just want to, practice their rights or go hunting or anything like that?
I don't. I don't know about the rest of the country, but I don't.
Because right now it takes very long time to get the gun license, so the this weapon process should be expedited.
Usually, a 44 would carry 44 bullets, right? 38 bullets.
No, that's the size of the round. 44 is the size of the round, 38. That's
But
the type.
if you have a 38, then you'd have about 6 bullets. So basically, it could harm too many people.
What's an assault rifle?
It's a weapon that's dangerous. I don't need to know the specifics. I got a homie that's in the army.
Okay, do you know what an assault weapon is?
Yes.
Can you describe it to us?
A weapon that assaults. Just kidding. No, I don't know what. There's a lot of weapons, assault weapons.
Can you tell us what an assault rifle is? The gun ban is gun specifically for assault weapons. Do you know what an assault rifle is?
Yeah, assault rifle would be sort of like a hunting rifle, long, and it'd be long range, like probably 4 blocks.
Can you describe for me what an assault rifle is?
It's not a rapid fire.
Rapid fire, like automatic fire, you mean?
Yeah.
You know automatic weapons are banned in Canada already?
Well, then why do they have them?
We need guns. Where the world is heading right now, you don't know what's going on. I don't know if, like the crime, everything that's just going on, bro. Personally, I think it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Where there's one point where there's going to be people running up inside our houses, trying to rob us and that. It's going to get to that point. We're not too far from that. So basically, we need to protect ourselves.
Are you English?
Yes.
How do you feel about the gun laws there?
Why do you think I'm here?
One click of the trigger fires 1 bullet, so there's no mechanical difference or a basis for them to ban it on. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. But it's like, you know what? Why do you even need a handgun? I'm all for banning all guns. It's like, unless you're hunting, you don't need anything else.
A handgun and an assault rifle, so long as they're semi-automatic, they essentially do the exact same thing. So that's why the assault weapons ban is actually just naming certain guns, because they can't differentiate between them based on their actual mechanics. Does that make sense?
Yeah, most definitely.
Nice guy. Very nice guy. No idea what he's talking about. If you guys are interested in more content like this, go to rebelnews.com/Clarion for some more unique, interesting videos.
Okay, we're back.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a lot. I wasn't sure if you could hear me. But yeah, it's a lot of people, a lot of opinions, but it doesn't make them true.
Well, a lot of people, a lot of opinions based on absolutely nothing, on absolute ignorance. I was making notes. I thought it was interesting that the 2 people who pretty clearly came from oppressive regimes, there's the one Eastern European lady who, based on, you know what? I learned something. Never judge a book by its cover. I would have thought, based on her hair color, based on her clothing, even her sunglasses, that she would have been a lefty. And she still probably could be. But she was like firmly in gun rights, and like gun rights are women's rights. And so that sort of shocked me. But she also has an Eastern European accent, which means she probably grew up with the lingering effects of Soviet totalitarianism all around her. And, you know, so it makes perfect sense. Same with the guy from Iran. He said, yeah, I'm from Iran. And so he understands why you might want to have a gun on hand. And the English immigrant who said, why do you think I'm here? Because the UK gun laws are so ridiculous. But, people are still getting murdered. Daily stabbings, machete attacks, that kind of stuff, so, bombings, So, again, it just goes to show the people who have lived with sort of oppression, when they come here, they're hoping for freedom, by and large, and it's the, it seemed to me like the people who are pretty clearly Toronto lifers, they didn't have a clue what was going on, and they were just happy to say, yeah, get rid of, why does anybody need a gun? That's always the response.
Business. That's,
why do you need a goofy goatee there, buddy? Like, you know what I mean? And the one guy who said, oh, a 44, that shoots 44 bullets.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's the kind of people Justin Trudeau is relying on to get reelected, to vote in those polls that say the majority of Canadians support an assault rifle ban, because they don't have a clue. They don't even know what an assault rifle is, yet they'll click, yes, I support that, without even having all the facts. Justin Trudeau is relying on their ignorance.
Most of these polls are run in the 7 largest cities in Canada. They're not even run across Canada in the rural areas, and it doesn't represent all Canadians. It only represents inner city people that have no clue about guns. And the media and the left have been so successful in dominating the conversation about how guns are bad and how they need to be banned. And people, they truly believe, the people in the video truly believe that they're bad, and if you just ban all the guns, the shootings will stop. These people are good people. They don't want to see shootings, but they're just, I would say, ill-informed. They don't know what's actually going to stop the crime. They just want to see it stop. So it's easier to ban my gun than fighting crime.
I just heard Justin say in my ear that woman that I said was, I would have thought, just based on her outfit, that she was a leftist, and I said she sounded like she was Eastern European. Well, she is. She's from the Ukraine, so definitely she knows how important it is and how tyranny is always around the corner. And I suppose she's just one of generations of Ukrainians who have come to Canada to escape the Soviet Union and for freedom. And she made a great case for why gun rights are women's rights. We should tear through some of these, and then we have some. Maybe we'll show a video of an immigrant that doesn't want to ban guns, Justin, as soon because oh, that was in the long one. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Maybe we'll move. Yeah, let's go to the Queen's Park, guys, as soon as I breeze through some of these super chats, if you wouldn't mind. Kane Enmark gives us $5. Kane, thank you very much. This is to Yankee. That was good of you to drive down to NYC to help out the Rebel and Anna. Where's Anna now? Well, Anna's dealing with some health stuff, so she's off for a little bit. We wish her all the best. She'll be back shortly. But yeah, that was really Yankee's big debut on the team. We needed someone to go down to New York to support Anna, and just a friendly face waiting when she got out of jail, and Yankee jumped in a car and he was down there the same day.
It was kind of really last second, not even last minute. Ezra called me, it was 8:30 in the morning, and he was like, I don't know how to ask you, would you be willing to go down? And I was like, sure, let's do it. It was June 4th, I believe, 3rd. I had just joined the team. I was pretty new, and I was like, sure, I'll do it, no problem. And I was glad I could be there. Anna had no idea what we're doing. I think she got one phone call right after she got arrested, and then one phone call the night after. And the second phone call was to her mom, and she didn't really know what the rebel is up to, and she didn't know I was in town. She only found out most of the details, I guess, once she was released, and I was able to be there, which was great. And yeah, she is dealing with some health issues, and I'm wishing her all the best. And hopefully she's back to full speed, I guess, pretty soon.
I'm sure she will be. Let's keep going. Julian Borges gives us $5, and he says, venereal disease. Oh, I see. You want me to go full church lady. Hang on. Okay, venereal disease claims more lives than corona. Almost everyone has HPV, for instance, which leads to cancer, but there's no outrage for promiscuity. The left encourages promiscuity, and it leads to the destruction of families. So, of course, they're not going to talk about all the societal problems caused by promiscuity. But right now, I'm frankly a little more scared about store-bought onions than anything, because there's a salmonella outbreak that's really making people sick, and the news keeps saying, everybody throw out your onions. And again, I feel like a winner because I grow my own. So I'm more scared of onions than I am the coronavirus. Lesbian Towel gives us $10, and this one's for me. Hey, Sheila, why is it so taboo to see white people as a group with legitimate interests? There's obvious anti-white sentiment on the left, but you insist on focusing on culture, not race. Yes, I do. I focus on culture and not race. The left likes to divide people into demographics based on things they can't control and that don't really matter anyway, like race. And if BLM is a Marxist entity, why wouldn't White Lives Matter be also the same thing? I'm not in the business of dividing people. I think that we should unite over common values and not along some sort of gauge of skin tone or along the lines of religion either. If there are people who believe in freedom, I don't think it matters what color you are, and I just won't be drawn into that debate. I think it's ridiculous, actually.
Yeah, I believe that every single human matters, so I don't care the skin color. So if you want me to say white lives matter, black lives matter, all lives matter, it's all the same thing. At the end of the day, everyone matters, so that's the point.
Yep. Let's keep going. Julian Borges gives us $2. Demographic issues equals key causes for high gun crime. Margaret's the one sending me these. Margaret isn't the one donating.
I see Margaret, she is laughing.
Yeah. Abu Baker Al Puff Daddy, $10 Canadian. Thank you again. Good morning, Sheila and Yankee. This is a question for you.
Okay.
And think about your answer here before you give it. How do you like working for Rebel News? How is having Ezra as a boss? How's it like working with David and Andrew?
I'll start with David. He doesn't remember my name. No, he remembers it now. But no, it's a great team. I love working with the Rebel. I've been here a couple of months. Not the first time on camera, but it's the first time it's alive. It's a great team. Andrew is great. Ezra is great. He, anything I need or have to get done, I just call him and it gets done. So, so Ezra is great. Andrew, I like working with him. Menzies remembers my name, so what more can I ask for? Justin wants me to say something nice about him. If not, he'll cut the feed. So Justin is great. He's running a great show here.
Yeah, he runs a tight ship. Okay, Julian Borges gives us $5. Apparently, leftists used to champion Israel when they were the burgeoning underdog, but did a 180 when they became prosperous. Weakness attracts them. It's funny. Again, I think it's anti-Americanism and the age-old bigotry against Jewish people. It's both coming together. Robert Stewart, $20. Criminals obey gun laws just like Justin Trudeau's Liberals keep their oaths of office. We need to get tougher on criminals and leave honest people alone. Yes, I agree. Again, this goes back to my point about I don't care about race or religion or those sorts of things as long as we can unite over common values. Yankee and I are a perfect example of this. We both work for Rebel News. Yankee is a young Jewish man from Montreal. I am a middle-aged, white Catholic farm mom from Alberta, and yet we both work for the same company because we share many of the same values of freedom, liberty, leaving people alone. We like our guns, and we also like washing our hands. And so that's what's important. Those are those things that unite us, and I don't think we need to be dividing people into demographic groups and then expecting that all white people are supposed to think the same and all black people are supposed to think the same. That's crazy. I'd much rather hang out with Yankee than a white liberal feminist woman. I think I would have much more in common with Yankee. So, yeah, anywho, let's keep going. Oh, we're almost out of time. Okay, Lesbian Towel gives us $5. Is there a bit of a contradiction in being against identity politics while simultaneously being a Zionist? I'm a Zionist, I suppose, for the same reason that I'm pro-Taiwan or pro-Hong Kong. In that I care about freedom, liberty, economic freedom, human rights. That's why I support Israel. It's a beacon of freedom and capitalism and rights when all of its neighbors are not. Likewise with Taiwan, likewise up until recently Hong Kong. That's why I support the state of Israel. Right, Yankee?
Yeah, I agree. I didn't have anything to add, so. Yeah,
I know. Okay, so Kane Enmark gives us $2. I want to see Justin on the show. Justin, the producer, on the show. Kane, I think that's a great idea. Maybe we could sub in one of our other people one day, and you could get to know Justin a little better. Someone's got to run the show. You know what, Justin? I know you've taken a day off here and there, so other people know how to use that equipment. Don't whisper things in my ear to change my mind. I think we should have you in front of the camera once in a while. Storytime gives us $5. Mikhail Kalashnikov said he created the AK-47 for purely defense purposes, in which case we need guns in Canada to defend ourselves. You're not going to get an argument from me about that. Storytime. Okay, that's the same one. And I think that's it. And maybe we should close on another video or... Sorry, go ahead.
Comment. It wasn't super chat, but someone said I don't speak French. Yeah, my French isn't very good. I saw another comment saying I speak Yiddish. Yeah, I do speak Yiddish. It's my first language. So I saw it, so I wanted to address it.
Justin, why don't we roll that other video that we discussed?
Clear as day. There's no debate to whether or not he did that. He didn't have any democratic process to pass this bill, which actually broke the criminal code. So he broke the law again, which you can just add to his list and take into office, right? And we're not going to stand for it. And with the 2022 amnesty, so April 30th, my question to Trudeau is what happens? Are you going to turn our own police and military against us to come confiscate these guns? Because that's honestly the only way you're going to get them. And so the message I want to send to all Canadians is that this is an act of war, and if this goes unchecked, there will be violence. And it's not going to be instigated by us. It's going to be instigated by the Crown against those who are willing to stand and fight for their liberties. So,
well, that sounds very ominous. Tell me, sir, do you have some of the guns that will be classified as prohibitive in less than 2 years?
Yes, absolutely. Me and these boys, shout out to all these boys coming out here, fellow gun owners coming to support the cause, and absolutely, I have one.
So what happens, sir, in 2022, when it's time to turn them in, are you turning in your guns?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No way. Absolutely not.
Why doesn't Trudeau disarm his bodyguards? If he's that anti-gun, his bodyguards shouldn't have guns either, right?
Those are handguns, right?
and assault weapons as well. So why does he have those to protect himself, but I can't have them to go to the range?
If you notice, there's police surrounding us here at Queen's Park. Every one of them has a handgun on their hip, and if they have a patrol car, there's going to be an AR-15 in here. So if he says there's no place and no use for any of these weapons in Canada, why hasn't he called the police to disarm? Why just the civilians?
He's right. That guy's right. And, you know, it's funny that as a gun owner in this country, to discuss the fact that you have guns that are potentially under confiscation order, you can't talk about it. You can't say which model you have. You don't want to show your face. You've mentioned that you have 3 guns affected.
Yeah, well, they're restricted. It's registered.
Yeah.
There's not much...
They know that you have them. But I mean, there are people like my family, we've got some that were unregistered that were moved all the way to prohibited. You can't talk about it because you're going to have the RCMP eventually show up at your door and take them from you and then charge you. And because you've received the charges, then the rest of your guns that weren't illegal are now suddenly illegal because you're a gun criminal. It's ridiculous that we have to live this way.
And we didn't do any crime. These guns didn't hurt anyone. They're just sitting at home. They're good for hunting, target practice, and taking care of coyotes. But, you know, other than that, it's, you know, they just do nothing. While downtown Toronto, you could do whatever you want. You know, bail is amazing, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We've got one last super chat. We're going over time. Justin is telling me to wrap it up in my ear. Kathy D gives us $2 Canadian. Well done show. That's all. Take good care. We definitely will, Kathy. Thank you very much for that last minute super chat. That's very, very generous. I want to thank everybody, including Kathy, who donated in the super chats today. It's very kind. It's very generous. It helps us keep going. I want to thank Yankee for co-hosting with me today. I want to thank all of you for tuning in and getting to know Yankee a little better. Hopefully we'll see him more in front of the camera. I enjoy talking about guns, but it's hard to talk about guns with David. He understands the liberty issues, but I don't think he understands like the gun specific issues. And we'll see everybody back here same time tomorrow. I'm not sure if it's me hosting or somebody else, but please join us again tomorrow, 12 Eastern, 10 Mountain Standard Time. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.